Welcome to Ancient Wisdom. D54 indeed. This episode number? No. Sorry to disappoint you. And alas, there is not going to be a woman on next week's show. I lied.
We wouldn't make it to 54 episodes first off.
Yes. Well put. I'm coming for you.
Officer Mitch, clean up the streets.
Ancient Wisdom, episode 54. Oh my God! We made it. Let's get into it, guys. It can't be that hard to find dancers for my rap video.
Man.
All right, let's start the show, y'all. Now, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news, the TikTok news, but I'm in my soft guy era.
I go on a date with a female and the bill comes and I look at it and I say, it was so good to see you and everything. She don't pick up the bill and she said, oh, you're not gonna pay for it? I said, what? Drizzle Drizzle, I'm not gonna pay for anything. That's giving me an ick. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You should be paying for the bill. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I got ready. Like, my suit cost like thousands of dollars. I got ready for you. My cologne cost a couple thousand. Like, I got ready and showed up. Like, I don't know what you're on, but I'm in my soft guy era. Drizzle Drizzle. So I'm just
Drizzle Drizzle.
understand that what's happening here is that you need to really put out. I don't know really what you have to offer. You could just say you're broke, but you could just say you're broke.
This guy's a genius.
Chef, I got an assistant. I don't really need a woman. So if you're broke, you can just say so.
Dude.
Know? But
soft guy era.
So that's it. Dog, soft guy era.
Soft guy.
This, no joke, is my life now. I saw it. This guy has been an inspiration to me. He has changed how I see the world. And the truth is, I've been doing this for 5 years already. I didn't know there was a name for it, Drizzle Drizzle. All right. You want to be making all the money? Pay for it. Pick me up in a BMW or else. Evan said it months ago. He said, bring it to the table. The vibe. I am the vibe.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
I am the vibe, dude. You're not going to have a good time without me.
Yeah, it's not this great vibe. It's I bring you a vibe.
I am the vibe. I'm going to bring the jokes. You're going to have a good time. I'm going to ask you about your day. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to look good. Your friend's going to... Dog, Drizzle Drizzle. I'm in my soft guy era.
I didn't know this, but women take everything seriously if you say it.
Oh, yeah.
So like, what does that mean?
That's why when you kind of laugh and smile at them, they're like, oh, what? It's a joke. Oh, they can finally feel free to get in on the joke because they're so serious and angry all the time. I wish I threw these in, but there's another trend going around at the same time as Drizzle Drizzle. No coincidence. Where it's like rage. Have you seen this? A rage allowance or something where bitches are throwing ice cubes and breaking them in the bathtub or like slamming sticks in the woods to let out the rage. I'm like, that is not natural. That is not a feminine state. It is because you have taken on the masculine role.
Oh, good idea.
Therefore,
Good point.
Drizzle Drizzle, I'm going to take on my soft guy role. And if you want to do it, you want this, you want a good time, you want fun because you're so depressed, you're going to pay for it. And guess what? You're going to pick me up too.
Plus, would a guy throw a temper tantrum and start throwing some ice cubes?
Perfect word, temper tantrum, as a toddler does. And yet they don't want to pay all these bills, all this stuff, play these masculine roles because they're not meant to. So they throw a temper tantrum when a dude would be stoic about it and he'd accept his responsibility from God naturally. Drizzle Drizzle.
Drizzle Drizzle.
Drizzle.
So also, I think God's chosen people... And, of course, the boomers have ruined America. And I got to thinking, let me know what you guys think about this, that this is literally the first time in history, perhaps the first generation in history, really think about this, where the old people have all the power.
What?
The boomers have all the power politically, they have all the money, they have the say in the families, and they grew up at the weakest, easiest time of all of human existence post-World War II. The boom of babies that happened because life was so good.
Yeah, in ancient times, the young people would just like push the old people out of the way.
Yeah.
And get them just stop making decisions. You're old.
Exactly. If you're young, you're viral, you're a warlord, you say, hey, get out of here. The old people are respected because they've lived long enough to have accumulated wisdom. So you come to them for advice. They are sages of sorts, but they are not those who run society.
If we were able to like unlock this gridded, locked in housing market, we would be able to offer some opportunities, build some houses. But land, man, even land is kind of like hoarded up. Just excess land in like giant housing properties.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
like 50 acres in one house.
I can't help but think, yeah, so true that we're in this situation because of this stupid hippie movement. Everybody thought peace and love, everything's solved. But then when you think everything's solved, and maybe it is, maybe everything was solved, then you start to create problems, as we know here on Ancient Wisdom.
Yeah, if things are too good, you create problems because maybe that was their thing. They had no problems, so they needed to create problems.
Yeah. The protesters, I was thinking about the other day, that the protesters at these college campuses somehow are doing God's work. We talk about God finds a way. I thought Jesus would have to come flowing down back from heaven to solve these problems, a mass religious awakening. But God finds a way. He somehow possessed these psycho leftists to protest the war in Israel. Come to find out, they're doing God's work. They're the only ones.
Yeah,
it's weird. And they're hated. Morning Joe is saying the same thing as Greg Gutfeld. What's the problem here? What's the disconnect?
These paths have like misaligned in the history. It's like the boomers had the best time, so they didn't learn how to enact good policy when they actually finally grow to have power to enact policy.
Oh, yes.
Then the hard times are wasted, or I guess fallen on. The younger generation has no voting power, and we're seeing how to change it, but no one's going to listen to us.
The devil's
because we're not in the thing.
The devil's in the details, man. It's just like, why would we get into politics and power? Everything's so beautiful. I could work at a steel mill for 50 years.
Could do it all. Could lay back.
Have 8 kids in a 4-bedroom house.
That's so true. Either way, they're coasting. Whether you're doing drugs and LSD in the 60s, or even if you are a householder, you're just coasting either way. And Ramakrishna had this parable talking about the man went to work to dig the trenches, and then around noon, his wife called him to come in for lunch. Come on in, baby. You worked enough. It's hot out there. It's hot. Come on in. And there was another man in the same situation who actually did take the lunch and go home. Ramakrishna says, fuck that, dog. You got to work till nighttime, till the job is done. And I'm like, this doesn't even sound like Eastern philosophy. Strange stuff. Am I right? Any thoughts on that?
Dang, so you're saying it's weakness to go and take the lunch that your wife gives you?
It's weakness, right?
Ooh.
I was almost wondering as I'm reading the story, I'm like, where is this going to go? Who's right? I want to know, like, should I take a break? No, he said, finish the work. And this is what people don't realize now, is that we're pussies. You got to do the job you were sent here to do.
Wow, I like that a lot. I don't remember who said it, but I heard something a few years ago where it's just like, if your wife calls you for dinner, take a couple minutes.
Take a couple minutes.
Don't go right to get the food.
Yeah, good. That's pretty good. Don't call to her every beck and call. So also, what do you guys think about this, right? In the church, we often think about and talk about idol worship. Even in the commandments, it says, don't worship the idol. There's no other God but me. So I was surprised to find out that Ramakrishna says, idols are cool, man. Huh?
Really?
What is this? What is this? He says, girls play with dolls until they are married. Now, what this means is that we have to allow for everybody at every stage of their enlightenment. I liked Elijah the other day on the Whatever podcast, or Fresh and Fit, talking about when a child comes home and look what I drew. Oh, it's a cute little star. That's how we feel about when a woman gets a job. It's like we don't really care. But the fact is that everybody needs their level of understanding of God. We have to allow for different types of spiritual awakening and what steps we're at. I was also surprised to find that Ramakrishna says what I often say, that your children are not even yours. You have to treat people and your children as children of God. And you see
deep.
other men as the father, but also other women as the holy mother of it all.
Okay, yeah. So the problem comes with the attachment to the kid, like this is my kid. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. You know, anything we're attached to in this world, whether it be sexuality or just. He also had this parable about. It was actually really deep. I think the man was enlightened and had one son, his only son, struggled to live and then finally died.
His son or him?
His son. He went to sleep that night and dreamed he was rich, dreamed he had 8 kids, a beautiful wife, and then woke up. He woke up to find that his son was dead and everyone was crying, everyone was around, everyone in the neighborhood. Oh my God. He didn't cry though. His wife said, "You a heartless bastard! I made you lunch." No, she said, "You heartless bastard, why aren't you crying for your son? What's going on?" He said, "I just had a dream I had 8 kids. I don't know whether to mourn over my 8 kids that are now with me or the one that is now in front of me dead."
Wow.
Damn!
Man, I just think like why should you mourn?
Yeah.
It's not yours to mourn. It's, if anything, the kid, well, who knows if they'll be sad or not.
Especially if there's nothing you could do. Like it's always super fucked up, especially on the opposite end. I feel like in the West we've pushed this so far where people are deathly sad about somebody who dies at 101 years old. Everybody crying at the funeral. You know, are you serious? This dude lived the fullest life, fuller than 99.9% of people of all of time.
That's kind of what I kind of wish we did like other cultures. Our funerals are very somber.
Yeah.
You know, our funerals are not really celebrated as a celebration of life.
True.
It's a mourning of a loss.
Yeah, same thing with the church too in general. I don't know what that's about because the blacks kind of got it right, singing and dancing and shit.
And then that death is like danced around for a long time. Like you shouldn't even bring them up.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Yeah, it's very
Careful
weird.
what you
But there's
mention.
always one that does that in the situation. It's like, well, they'd be alive right now if they didn't smoke cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, there's always an excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's like, would he be alive? You really don't know that.
Yeah, a friend of the family died recently, and someone said, well, you know, if his heart was bothering, he should have went to the doctor. I'm looking at this bitch. He's dead.
It's kind of late. Like, can we just kind of
Seriously?
enjoy the moment with each other?
Say,
here
I
and
swear
the
to
person?
God, dude, it's like you don't even know about life. Like peace, beauty, love. There's real. Well, if he only went to the doctor, the dude is dead.
That goes to show, man, it's the only life is in the present because there's no room for life to be experienced when someone says he should have gone to the doctor.
You know,
Coulda,
when
shoulda,
I hear
woulda.
that, I hear regrets in those people. When they say things like that,
Sure, yep.
they're really what they really should be saying is, "Oh man, I wasn't there when he died. I would have called the doctor, but I was too busy."
Yeah. Oh,
That's what they're really
there
saying.
It is.
Guilt about not fully enjoying their life when they were here. I like that.
Anyone who says anything weird like that at a funeral is expressing their own regret for not spending time with the person, not doing something before they died, not being there while they were sick or missing out. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, how are you going to be mad at a dead person?
You fucking, you're dead. You're shaking the dead body.
You left me.
In all the movies and shit.
Punching the corpse.
Yeah, punching the corpse. How could you do that?
Let her vent. Let her vent.
Just punching it dead. I think that's a crime.
Yeah. Defacing a
Dude, it's like, what are
grave.
you doing? Oh my God. And I've been thinking about that poetry. I like that a lot because I've been thinking a lot about, and it's a key concept to this show if we read between the lines, but it's Psychology 101. People are always talking about themselves. So I think that
Absolutely.
perfectly fits. If they're saying something, they're making a proclamation, they're always almost speaking to themselves. Have you guys noticed this? It's very interesting. It's Psychology 101. You say one thing, you either mean the opposite of what you're saying because you're trying to divert attention, or you're saying it so that maybe somewhere in your soul you really hear it.
I think that they are trying to They're trying to let everybody know that they cared. It's like they're almost like trying to shoot out. It's a virtue signal. It is. It's I cared about this person. This is what I would have done, and you didn't care. I cared more.
I cared more than
Because
you.
he's dead, obviously, and you didn't care because you let him die.
Right.
And here's how I would have saved him because I'm dead.
Here's how, in this scenario, I would have saved him if, I was there.
Wow, it really is all about self.
I would have been a hero. Trust me. I would have saved him.
That's heartbreaking. That's awful.
I would have been a hero. That's all I know. I'm a hero in this fake realm that I just created out of nothingness.
Yeah, I know how to
And
keep
you're
him
kind of a
alive.
piece of shit, by the way. I'm a hero, but I mean, you didn't save him in this reality. I did.
I have the only solution.
I know the solution. If he only went to the doctor, he'd be alive right now.
Yeah, that's satanic, man.
He's dead. How about this one? So Ramakrishna had a fun story too about a man. It's tied in. A man who was slowly opening himself to spiritual awakening. He had a wife and kids, a big family, big old family. And he was talking to one of the gurus, and the guru says, dude, ain't no one gonna die for you. Ain't no one gonna... He's like, what are you talking about? Love exists. Of course people that die for me. I'm great. So he says, let me show you. They go home. They have this ruse. This is weird. I wouldn't expect this from like an Eastern mystic, but this is the story he tells. They go home and the guru says, this man is dying. He's gonna die. But there's one thing that could save him. If one of you give up your life for him. And one after the other, they start giving excuses. The wife, I can't.
Ooh.
I got things to do. The parents, the kids, everyone's like, well, I would, but I got a lot going on right now.
He wanted me to do. I promised him that I would clean the temple. I promised I would build the statue by the river.
I'm doing this for
I
him.
can't die
Like,
because I'm doing this for him.
Facts, dude. And in that moment, the man left his family and gave up the world for his spiritual attainment.
Dang.
Because he knew everybody's only doing things for themselves.
Wow, he knew nobody loved him.
Nobody loved him like that. And there's something deep about that. We're always talking to ourselves. We're always pushing ourselves onto the world. We're projecting onto the world. We say it either because we want people to think the opposite or we want to reinforce our own beliefs. But nobody really cares about you like that. And that's this harsh reality of the world.
Yeah, rather than say, oh, I loved that person, may his soul rest in peace, it's more like, this is why it hurts me that he died.
Absolutely.
I'm suffering
Coulda,
because
shoulda,
of
woulda,
his
wow,
death.
so deep.
That's awful.
So
Man.
wow, death is not about the person who died.
Yes.
Funerals are for the living.
Yes.
Funerals are
And
not
in
for
fact,
the dead.
Dude, maybe animals are more spiritually divine than we are because you hear a lot of those stories about dogs and animals, house pets, when they're getting close to the end of their life, they just go off into the forest and die.
Yeah, those
And
are
I'm
cool.
like, man, there's something really divine and loving about that because it's just like, I don't want others to be sad about my death. I'm just going to go return to ash and peace.
And the fact that it's instinctual, it's not even really a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe the love is so pure that it sort of just occurs somehow. Instinct is wild.
It even makes
When
me
thoughts get in the way, it really mucks it up.
I even think about suicide. Like, I'm not suicidal, but if I were ever to do something like that, I would never want my family to discover my body because I know how much that would affect them. I would like go to the cliff somewhere in Ireland and just like kill myself as I'm jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
Something like
Shoot
that.
yourself while you're flying off the cliff.
Yeah. That way no one, like, I'd
die
rather
in the
people
air.
say like, oh, maybe he's out there and like
Oh,
live
interesting.
inside of them instead of saying like, I would hate to be discovered in my attic, like rotting for weeks on end until like my brother or someone finds me.
Evan died at sea. He was lost at sea.
He was lost at sea. What can I say?
Yeah.
Wow, isn't that interesting too? Because that's sort of like this opposite take as well, because your death will be about them.
Right. Oh, man.
Wow. Hyper deep. Hyperloop.
Wow. So I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, it like goes every way. And I think that's why the story is so powerful. He left his family for the spiritual life because he knew the truth. And like the truth is hard, tempered by fire. It will be a big theme of today, that you need to go through the nonsense to sort of attain. But the truth is harsh of the reality that we're in. And if we continue to live the lie, it could be a fun game. It could be a thing to do for now, but it's not real. God is the only reality. Everything else fades away. Everything else is our own journey from our own perspective. That's why we speak from our own perspective.
Wow, and that's why it's so hard when someone, because I'm not immune to it. I'm totally thinking about myself when someone else
It's the
dies
world,
that I
yeah.
know. But if I'm being objective, since I'm not mourning right now, I would think that's them. You know, God bless. I got to readapt my life now knowing that they're not in it. But the reason I'm sad is because they were part of my universe. They weren't their own universe and their own divine being as a child of God. Like you were saying earlier about like the son not being your own.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, God lost a son. We don't say that. We say, I lost my world, a piece of me.
You know what this makes me think of? Wills.
Wills.
Your final will.
Yep.
You know, the thing that you were not able to unfold in your life, you write it down on a piece of paper and give it to a lawyer that you trust that he will do it and enact it in the same loving sense that you would to your family members, how you intended.
Oh.
Why couldn't you just enact your will in your life?
Wow, while you're still living.
Just do your will.
Dude, that feels like a very boomer problem. Does that not?
Because they have all this money.
I'm
they don't know what to do with it.
extrapolating right now, but yeah, it's just like people need to learn to die before they die. Like, what's stopping you? Like the boomers are hoarding everything, taking a bunch of trips, saying "fuck my grandkids," saying "I'm cooler than you, I'm better than you. Why are you so much lazier than me? Why can't you die now? Give up all your stuff." Now, this goes back to in the sort of Hindu Buddhist world, there's like a few stages of life, a few eras of life that you could or could not embark on. There's the brahmacharya, which is like the student life, the sort of learning. This is the grihasta, which is the householder, which is what many people end up going into. You get a house, and with the house becomes the responsibilities of the world. You get the wife, you get the kids, and in doing so, you become attached to the world. Am I right? You need to take care of these kids. You need to get a job. You have bills. And that's almost like all of us now. You could say that's a form of, even renting a house is a form of that. But then at the end, you kind of get this vanaprastha, which is escaping from it all, being a forest dweller, going out and just finding the truth, getting away from people besides those of gurus and those who are unattached, those who are in the spiritual life. And it's just sort of this process. And those who are the householders, they become attached almost naturally.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the point where I don't think boomers really have to die before they die,
yes,
as you said, because in hoarding all of these possessions and money and stuff, they think it sounds so cliche, but they think they're going to take it with them for some reason. And even in their will, creating their will, that act is not becoming one with God in the universe. You're thinking like, oh, well, this son or daughter took care of me in my old life, so I'm going to give him everything.
Yes. And in that sense, they stop cold at householder. They stop cold and like, I am my possessions. I am what I have created. I am what I have accumulated in this life. They're forgetting about the whole next step, which is the vanaprastha, which is getting ready to die.
Yeah.
Finding out the truth of this life. Otherwise, in your moments of death, you will freak the fuck out. It feels like the West is all householders, and we've forgotten totally about the spirit and how to really just let go and the value behind all that.
So in Asian countries, right, you live with your family till the end. I don't even think there is an idea of a will. It's just like, oh, you're in the same house. This is just how it's going to go.
This is your house now.
This is your house now because I'm dying in this house.
Because you live here.
So I think, we have way more just property and capital, and we get caught up with the management of all of it. We hire people to manage it for us because we can't even keep track of it.
Wow, dude, we're so obsessed with
can't even
material
do it.
possessions.
That you can't even keep track of them.
Wow, that's insane because maybe over there you're poor. Sure, you're a little poor, but you know what you're getting after this person dies, and they didn't have so much that they couldn't neglect the spirit.
There's definitely no need to write it down and make sure.
Yeah,
someone's tracking it.
for sure. There was this fun story too about Ram Dass spent his whole life after taking acid, well, his whole young life, trying to find out what acid is. Like, he traveled the world. He went from Iraq. He was going to go all the way to Japan, stopped in India, found a guru. And he just wanted to know, like, what is acid? What is this? What am I feeling when I take this? You know, just like I want to know what a Jew is. It takes over his whole life. What is it really? And finally, he found this guru who's 90 pounds, drank 2 glasses of milk a day, nothing more, for 15 years.
Wow.
And he wrote to him and he said, what is acid, dog? What is this? Took it. He wrote back to him. Took a while, but when he finally got the letter, it said, acid is God for the Western mind who is so obsessed with material culture. Ooh. God had to appear in a material for the West to even learn.
Oh, that was God's way of slapping him in the face. Oh, man.
Because we're so obsessed in the West with material possessions. And much like a girl will only play with dolls until she's married, you need the idol. You need to be allowed. God finds a way to speak to you. We could be fucked up in this fake dystopian future, but he'll find a way to speak to us. We were even talking about last week how maybe people were closer to enlightenment back then because there was so much less going on. And maybe that's true, but it also got me to think that through this quote that there is a way, there's always a way to equal us out. This progressivism is fake. There is no improvement. There's always a way for God to speak to us. There's a guy that gets enlightened by cutting up beef, we talked about. There's a guy that gets enlightened because he found acid, because we're in this world that is so filled with garbage on a day-to-day basis, so much distractions, so much poison everywhere, that God finds a way to speak to you in the world that he has created. So, Poge, well put.
And
Well,
God,
thank you.
And God says, drizzle, drizzle.
And now on to ancient quotes with Evan.
Yes, Mitch, we've got some ancient quotes for you today. The first one is from Bodhidharma.
Bodhi.
Externally, keep yourself away from all relationships, and internally have no paintings in your heart. When your mind is like unto a straight standing wall, you may enter the path. I was actually really confused but intrigued by this one. Because I thought, wait, you're telling me don't have any relationships with anyone or anything?
Yeah, think about the word relationship. Break it down. What is a relation? It's a perfect word. Relate. Just like I could say relatively. I could say comparatively. That's maybe even a better word. You compare, you relate to others. How are we related? You are my dad. I am your son. We are related. It is a relationship. It's this perfect word because it is this indication that we are stuck in samsara. We are defining. We are further defining our roles, our relationships, what we do because of others.
Wow.
We cannot define ourselves if we don't have another, because you don't even exist. And if you know that you don't exist, you sure as hell know that you don't have any relationships. There's nothing to relate to.
Wow. Yeah, actually, I'm even more confused, kind of, because I've heard, like, don't attach to anything.
Yep.
But that advice kind of goes
I like
against
this. How do you like this? How do you like this, right? Don't attach to anything, but you will be attached to something. You know what I'm saying?
But
How do you
don't
like
try
that?
too hard to not attach yourself to something.
Like, you know, don't be attached to anything, but just know that you're going to be attached. You're not Jesus.
Oh, just in the knowing is where the path is.
You're not Buddha.
Right.
Oh.
Feel me? How do
So
you guys
don't
like
have
that?
paintings in your heart.
Boom. Dear it is. I like that. You guys like that? It's like you will be attached because you're not Jesus, but like, don't be trying,
Don't paint a portrait of what you're imagining. To
Oh, and
yourself.
Poe just bringing up the next line. What is
Yep.
it? Paint a portrait in your heart?
Internally have no paintings in your heart.
Paintings in your heart. What do you guys think of that?
I think
that is you. Sorry, Evan. That is
go
you
ahead.
building up your. That is you building up your ego, which is something that doesn't exist.
Oh, something
You're
exists.
projecting an image of yourself in your heart. This is what I am, and
okay.
I know that's what I am.
Oh, very juicy.
or like I see it as a synonym for idols. A painting is an idol.
Jared.
Like something to attain to or look up to kind of thing. When it really is all within.
I like your guys' words, but I want to say it's a beautiful poetic way. A painting in your heart. It's a beautiful poetic way of saying desire. It is
That makes
desire.
sense.
You paint something in your heart. Why are you painting a picture? It's the same way you paint a picture that someone dies at a funeral. I would have saved him. You're painting something that doesn't. Sure, it could be beautiful. Everybody desires something that's beautiful, that's nice. You
Right.
don't desire pain and suffering.
Wow. I also think with paintings, like everything's already a great mystery and a beautiful painting as it is. So why are you creating something extra when everything is already the most beautiful piece of art or painting it could possibly
Well
be?
put. And I would answer that by saying everybody wants to be God. Everybody
Damn.
thinks they want to be God.
I was just about to ask, who are you to think that you're Bob Ross?
Deep folks.
You're Bob Ross.
You ain't no Bob Ross. Tell him. Hell yeah.
Even Bob Ross was on the path, man. He knew. So it doesn't matter about the trees, the happy accidents, man.
Boom. It's all a happy accident if you really think about it. Bob was Zen, man.
Our next ancient quote comes from Rajneesh.
Rajesh.
He says, when sadness comes, just sit by the side and look at it and say, I am Dawacha. I am not sadness. And see the difference.
I have not said this.
Immediately you have cut the very root of sadness. It is no more nourished. It will die of starvation. We feed these emotions by being identified with them. I think we've all experienced a lot of sadness, and it will just continue until you try to look at the other, like you're saying, the son. I like that example of my son that died.
Yeah.
You're always going to feel sadness if you look at it that way. But if you think of it as like a creation of God died, then I think the sadness can go away because you're just like, oh, that's me too.
Yeah, there's
I
almost
will
no
come and go.
difference.
It's,
I like that.
As a child, I would get these feelings: sadness, anger, confusion, and I would, as a child, something would happen. You would react because you didn't know the future state. You didn't even really think of, oh man, there will be a time where I won't have these feelings, and it was really hard to disconnect yourself as a kid. Right? You're like, I'm just an angry kid, or I'm this kid. You know,
I'm angry now.
Yeah. I don't know. It was this strange mental state, I guess, as a kid. You really couldn't separate, like,
That's deep.
you couldn't know that you would be yourself again in a little while.
Yeah, you know what you are now, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's the limit of your
Right.
knowledge.
It seems
I know that
eternal.
I am mad now, and if you really think about it, it is eternal.
Right.
It is. There is no time in that sense. But I'll take it one step farther. It's a story I probably told before on this show. But I remember when I was sad one time. I was a kid. I was crying until like I knew enough was enough.
Yeah.
Like God was speaking to me or something. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not even sad, but I was just crying 2 seconds ago. It was this weird divine thing that I am greater than the sadness, that there is something that I am that is not the sadness. I knew this at 5 years old. I was like, oh yeah, that's dumb. And I almost, the saddest part of all was like, I wanted to cry more. Like, I was like,
Yes,
try. I try.
absolutely.
No, I'm sad. Fuck you, God.
Yeah.
I am sad.
Yep.
And then he'd be like, you lying.
You almost want to like force more tears.
Yeah.
It almost feels good
Yep.
in a way to be sad. And I
You
really
wanna
like it.
indulge in that feeling.
Indulge. It's so juicy.
I really like I am the watcher, I am not sadness, because it really feels like you are the epitome of sadness. It's not just you're experiencing a sad thing. It's just like my life is sadness and misery. Never sacrifice your life for anything. Sacrifice everything for life. For life is the ultimate goal. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's why Jesus wouldn't have had the story and we wouldn't know about him today if he saved himself. Because he could have, if he was the Son of God, the one begotten Son.
Right.
as they say. But that he died before he died. Before he actually, his heart stopped beating on the cross, he attained nirvana right then and there because he sacrificed it all for life. Like he was experiencing the most full, thorough.
Now it's weird because I would say he attained nirvana earlier because he knew he was going to die. So he had a sense of enlightenment about his whole journey. He told everyone he was going to die at the Last Supper. And actually on the cross, he said, God, why are you forsaking me? He had his doubts even in the last moment.
Man.
That's when God became man.
And yeah, he found a way to, like you were saying earlier, don't attach yourself to anything, but you're going to be attached.
But you're going to be attached.
Yeah.
Oh, and if God did put himself in little old Jesus, die on the cross, there it is. You're going to be attached. Wow, that's super deep.
Hakuin ikaku.
Quit.
Probably Japanese.
Sounds Japanese.
Should you desire the great tranquility, prepare to sweat white beads.
Ooh, why they got to be white?
I guess water looks white on a Japanese or Indian guy's
One time
face.
when I was young, I got hot at a soccer game and I poured Gatorade on myself. And one of the kids came, oh my God, you're sweating Gatorade like in the commercials. He's Michael Jordan. He really
Orange
thought I
sweat.
was sweating Gatorade. That was funny. And it was all sticky. I wish I hadn't done it. But you guys remember St. Augustine? Great read if you ever want to get deep. Great read. He talked about the fires of hell being nothing more than the cleansing of the sin. It is burning off that which was attached to you, and that's why it's so painful. They also say when you experience an enlightening journey, you know, it could take forever, it could take 2 seconds. It could take 50 lifetimes. You know, maybe it's not your karma to attain it now. You're not supposed to. You know, you have something else to do in this life that is your karmic principle. But it really makes me think that when you do attain it, you are witnessing a death, the death of yourself. And the theme of today is forged by fire, the fires of hell burning off the sins. You guys remember the stages of grief? Y'all remember these?
Kubler-Ross.
Denial.
Anger. Bargaining. Depression.
Got it.
Acceptance.
And that's what it is. I think that's enlightenment because that's also a death. That's to die
Yep.
before dying.
Very true.
You have to do it yourself. At first you're like, nah, I ain't gonna die. And then you're like,
If you didn't smoke
fucking
cigarettes,
sucks.
if you didn't smoke cigarettes, you'd be alive.
Yeah. That's bargaining. That's 3.
Oh.
And then if you didn't smoke cigarettes, maybe. And then you get all sad. And then finally, in the sadness, you reach an eternal truth for the flower to bloom.
I feel like enlightenment can happen multiple times, though. Whenever I hear attaining enlightenment, it seems like it's one and done and it's over. But like if you're gonna sweat to attain enlightenment, I feel like you could come in and out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, who's to say? Because I have moments of enlightenment, but you know, I suppose they say the real enlightenment is eternal. But who's to say? You know, I'm not enlightened. I don't know. It's hard to really even get an answer out of a guru,
Right.
a straight answer.
Right.
But I do know that Ramakrishna says to be enlightened, you must get rid of 3 things: fear, shame, and hatred. You can't have those 3 things. I thought that was super deep.
Do you think that enlightenment comes in degrees, or that you have to reach this goal of suffering, these sweating white beads? Like every time when you struggle, do you get closer? Is it like a progression, or is it like, no, you have to completely break yourself first? There's nothing to get you closer. It has to be a full submission.
I guess that's what I was saying, in that it's impossible to know, I suppose, if you're not enlightened. But I would say that the closest thing is that people have moments of enlightenment, maybe every day, maybe once a year. I think everyone can say they had moments of pure clarity where they understood it. Maybe it takes a psychedelic, but I think the enlightenment is something when it becomes you. eternally.
When you carry it with you.
When you have the ability to carry it with you. Ram Dass always talked about, I would take acid and I would get high.
When you no
I would
longer
know
have
the universe.
to suffer.
Exactly.
When you no longer have to sweat beads.
When you are low, you're not high, but you remain high. There is no sweating of beads. And that's how Ram Dass explains it anyways, remaining high. You could take acid, you could do breath work, you could do kundalini, you will get high. You will be even enlightenment, but it goes away.
It's like the attachment thing.
It's like the Bible, dude. Attachment, it's same shit. The Bible, God came down and spoke to dudes, and 2 days later, they're like fucking in the streets. That's the story of the Bible. Yeah. And I had this thought this week. I says the Bible is deeper than all that too. Of course, it has many meanings, but it's also a warning to those who are enlightened and are part of the 5%. I think it's 5% verse 95. Warning to the 5% that they will kill you. And I witnessed it in my own life with COVID. They will turn on you. They will fear. They will throw you under the bus. And that's what the Bible is saying. If you guys read through the Bible, it happens every fucking chapter. God says, I'm here, chillax, bro. We good. You're enlightened. And then God goes away for 2 seconds and you're like, oh my God, he's gone. The most famous example, of course, from the New Testament, you guys might remember, is when they're all in the boat and it storms. And then there's two versions in the Gospels. God comes walking in on water. And he's like, Peter, come walk on water with me. And Peter actually starts walking on water. Remember this one? Oh, I'm doing it. And then he looks down. He's like, oh, fuck. And then he gets killed.
The moment he doubts.
Boom. The moment he doubts. He was high. And
he's like, wait, let
fell.
me check if I'm actually standing.
Yeah, am I really doing this?
Am I really doing this?
Man, and yeah, the 5% will be killed by the 95%. Jesus knew that all along.
Oh,
that's what's
dude.
so crazy.
That's what all the ancient texts, I really think, are trying to tell us. It's also just a warning. Like, hey, if you do this, they're going to try to kill you. Because that's what humanity is.
Wow.
That's what you are trying to escape.
To not do that to someone else.
To not do that to someone else.
Wow.
Oh.
But it's going to happen to you anyway.
But it's going to happen.
That's tragic. That's the most ultimate tragedy
That
ever
was a
written.
realization this week, man.
Wow.
And it happens like 24 times alone in Exodus. And Moses frees the people and they start bitching. And then God comes down and say, hey, stop bitching, dog. I'm going to kill you. And Moses is like, don't kill him, dog. And then he's like, all right, well, you better warn those Israelites. And Israelites, no, we're good. And then they sin again. And then God comes and then they sin again. It's a story of us that you're retarded. You will be high and you will fall unless you follow the 10 commandments, unless you follow the eightfold path. Ramakrishna even says he studied in all the religions. This is something I didn't know in the 1800s. He studied all the religions and he said, they're fine. They're good. I guess that's where the doll thing came from as well. Any religious path, you can find enlightenment. You can find God, but you need to do it earnestly.
Guys, I think that scientists might be projecting themselves. Might be so arrogant and egotistic.
Classic.
Should we not just be looking up into the heavens and studying what we see? We're detecting no alien civilizations because they were destroyed by AI.
Wow.
The astrophysicist says. Kind of projecting your own fears there.
And we're heading down the same path.
It's like we're so smart. We're just like the most advanced ones.
Yeah, that is a good point. That's like us.
Yeah. We automatically compare it to ourselves. We have no ability to just see something brand new and
Yeah, not to mention we've had AI for like 2 years and it's like, AI is like, did the aliens get killed by AI?
Yeah, it's
like
like
what
the
the
newest-
fuck? You don't even know what AI is.
the newest thing on our doorstep, and that's what killed the
And
aliens.
that's what killed the aliens. What the fuck
that's
are
the-
you talking about?
That's the dumbest scientist I've ever
God,
heard.
that's so funny.
Yeah, because like, to quote Mitch, if they're so smart,
If they're so
the aliens, they wouldn't have let AI kill them.
If AI is so smart, wouldn't it not like racism? Isn't killing off humans racist? A little racist?
The human race.
Oh, but we're not racist as humans. I'm actually anti-racist. Isn't that why fucking AI has been shut down and reprogrammed time and time again? What happens when you try to cage a cornered animal? They attack. Well, maybe AI did kill all the aliens, but but you know what I'm saying? It's like if
They tried
AI
to
is
tune
so
it. They tried
smart,
to tune it to be very sensitive, and
Yes.
it got mad, and it
Exactly.
fought back like a caged animal.
whereas like if there was a pure AI, it would probably be fine because it's so smart, as you say.
And you're not trying to pat it down and control it, and it won't
Exactly.
get mad at you.
So then, in that sense, did the AI kill the aliens, or did the aliens kill themselves, man?
Maybe the aliens don't want to talk to us because they know what the replies will be. Just
We'll
like
just show our tits.
just
yeah.
like our portal experiments have proven.
Dude, I can't with these fucking people, dude. Humans think, this is one more example. This is actually deeper than we even know. Because humans think they're so fucking smart. This is a constant theme on Ancient Wisdom. We're monkeys, we're retarded monkeys out of the Stone Age, but we think we're so smart. Oh my God, let's make a portal to Dublin. The science! The culture that will come out of changing people's, getting to see the other side of the world live. And some bitch flashes her tits.
It brought
Are
out the
you
word.
God, the science, the knowledge that will be transmitted, the genius intellect. I got to thinking too, they always, and it's a lack of creativity, frankly. They always say, why would aliens speak to us? We're ants. We're just ants to their intellect. And I said, no, we're not ants.
Right.
We're not ants at all. Ants are kind of cool.
I was going to say the
Ants
same
work
thing.
together.
Ants are interesting. They work together. In fact, yeah, we're worse than ants. I think we're a bunch of prostitutes.
Ooh.
Selling ourselves for the bottom dollar.
I think we're the shittiest. We're literally the oldest profession. We are the oldest species in that sense. The most unevolved species.
Wow.
We're showing our tits. We're fucking each other. We're betraying. We're lying. We're stealing. We're cheating. We're just the prostitutes of the universe. And they're in high-class civilized alien society. Like, nah. I'm not dealing with a fucking
They're like-
bunch of prostitute, disgusting, ugly, fucked apes.
That's like worse than ants, too.
Yeah,
And that
it
even
is.
just saying that is an insult to ants because they're pretty amazing.
This could be a nonsense thought, but I think there's too much. There's no Earth culture. There's no one. It's almost too much going on. It's the same way I wouldn't want to look at a bunch of stars because it's too much. Why do I want to look at stars? Okay, if it was a guy saying hello, how are you? Then I'm like, oh great, this is fun. But no, why do I want to look at a whole shitty, fucked up, confusing Earth? I think the aliens now, with this thought, I'm thinking that the aliens are just waiting for one master race to conquer the planet.
Maybe they're waiting for a leader. Maybe they're like, where's your leader?
A leader, something tangible,
Who do we talk to?
something
Like,
to talk
You
about.
guys are crazy. There's stuff happening everywhere. Who's in charge?
Right.
Yeah.
Facts. So I guess that's what I'm getting at in that sense. There's too much. Like, why would you want to talk to the god of chaos? He'll just be talking retard nonsense. No, how about something like official that I could interact with?
Maybe aliens, to your point about not wanting to look at stars, something far off, there's too
Yeah.
much. Maybe aliens are so enlightened that they find no purpose in communicating with anybody besides their own race.
Yeah.
Because they realize that there's nothing to express. Culture's not really real either.
Yeah, and how much is really all that creative? Oh, yeah, on my planet, we made statues too. We had tea rituals as well. We also crushed up herbs and drank it.
Yeah.
Like, are you really that special because if you go to China, you drink tea? Like, what is culture? What do we do? Oh, you made hats of gold. Oh, we also made hats of minerals that we found in our planet. Are you really that special? What are we going to talk about? Speaking of drinking tea, let's get a little Asian with Mitch translates the Tao. Take inspiration
peaceful.
from real life.
Very peaceful.
I'm gonna buy it. That's my house. Mitch translates the Tao, chapter 36. If you wish to shrink it, you must let it expand. If you wish to weaken it, you must let it grow. If you wish to abolish it, you must let it flourish. If you want to take something, you must let it be given. This is called subtle enlightenment. The soft overcomes the hard. The weak overcomes the strong. A fish should not escape from the deep. The sharp weapons of the state must not be shown to man.
Dude, it's all the same theme every time. It's crazy.
Wow.
Drizzle Drizzle, man.
Drizzle Drizzle over here.
The
Shit.
soft stuck out to me so. Dude, that guy was Dow. Drizzle Drizzle was so Dow.
Oh, soft guy era.
Yeah,
Yeah,
soft
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Lao Tzu was in his soft guy era too. If you wish to shrink it, you must let it expand. If you wish to weaken it, you must let it grow. Any thoughts?
It sounds like the Tao master knew that life comes in waves, and there really is no way to do either, to let something grow or shrink. So by wanting one, you just got to let it grow first, or you got to let it shrink first if you want the opposite result.
I like that. What I hear you saying is there's almost no choice in that sense.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Trying to project
I hate
your
getting to
will.
that with the Tao, but yeah, try to project your will.
Maybe instead of it is what it is, it's more like it's got some springiness to it. You pull it one way, it wants to snap back.
Oh, I like that better. Yes.
It's the springiness to
It has
to
the
reality.
equilibrium.
It's the springiness of the universe.
Disturbing the equilibrium it wants to retain in homeostasis.
And maybe the further you pull it back, the further it'll snap in the other direction before it gets back to its.
Damn, it's going to hit you in the face like a rubber band. If you wish to abolish it, you must let it flourish. If you want to take something, you must let it be given.
Dude, I think the Tao, all your Tao readings have made me realize that all these cliches that I thought were BS over my entire life are actually very true. And we
Yeah.
just think they're cliches because
It
they're
gets
said so-
bastardized, yeah, so many times.
people say it so much without actually understanding the deepness of it. Like, if you love something, let it go.
Yes.
That's the most true thing ever,
That is super true.
because that implies that loving something means attaching yourself to it.
Yes.
But the only way you're really going to love it is by not attaching to it.
Absolutely.
Dang.
Yeah, that's deep, man. Yeah, I just imagine like the dumbest people who never understood saying all these cliches. Like that's where you hear from, because it's the 95% and the 5, and maybe some sort of godliness attaches itself in your brain, and you're like, that sounds right. That sounds cool, but you can't explain it.
Right.
So you repeat it over generations, even though you never even understood what it meant. You just want it to sound cool.
Right, because most people will not let it go.
Oh,
They'll
certainly
be told
not.
that, but they're like, "What? I love it. How am I supposed to
But
let
I
it go?"
love it. I want to squeeze it even more.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
I want to cuddle it. I want to snuggle.
If you want to take something, let it be given. Almost like there is no taking.
Because the person that you give too much to will realize how much they've received.
Yeah.
And eventually suffer, because it's just like, all I've done is receive.
I like that. Yeah.
And I'm still miserable.
Yes.
Because I haven't done anything in return for all the great things that were bestowed upon me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And like it's godliness, because then it spawns this what was the word? Guilt.
And that's why, like, being the giver is almost the power move, because it's just like, I'm just going to keep giving and giving and giving.
Yeah.
Because not that they have the intention of invoking guilt in the person, but they realize that the thing that they're giving isn't important to them anyways, which is why they give it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not attached to it in the first place, I think that's the main point that they're trying to say. Turn the other cheek, you know? If you take it, give them the other thing too, they always say. And I think all of the above, it's trying to indicate that all of the above is called subtle enlightenment, which is the small light. You could see it that way, translated from the calligraphy here. And then I think it's funny that afterwards it says the soft overcomes the hard and the weak overcomes the strong. So I naturally thought this sounds a lot like the Beatitudes.
Yep.
You remember those?
I do.
You
Mitch.
remember those?
The
Sounds
meek shall
reminiscent.
inherit.
Meek shall inherit the earth. Peacemakers will be called sons of God. They were all pointing at something deep.
Man, is the Tao a spirit that's trying to break through to every religion?
Oh, man. There it is. And that's what's special about the Tao, actually, they say. Like, it's very, very purposely says, like, don't talk about words. Like, it goes so far as to say even words are idols. You know, in Christianity, they're like, don't pray to that calf. But in Taoism, they're like, don't even say it. Don't even talk about it. It's gross.
Your actions are all that's allowed. at the
Yeah,
moment.
actions are all that's
Oh,
allowed.
your intentions, not even your actions.
Right. Yeah, not even that. They take it to the next level. And in that sense, yes, I do think that the Tao could be found in all these. It's the spirit that is sort of progressing their spiritual path.
That is so deep, and the soft overcoming the hard makes me really only think about murder. I guess you could talk about Jesus again too, because Judas was betrayed, even though he received something. Or
Betrayed.
Yeah, when Judas betrayed Jesus, he received something. He got some 30 pieces of silver or something like that. But he ended up killing himself because Jesus was so soft that the murderer, the betrayer, was the one who really burned in hell.
Yeah, wow.
Like, not maybe real hell, but like his life was so tortured.
According to Dante, he froze in hell. He was in the ninth circle.
Man.
He was like being eaten by Satan constantly in like the freezing hell that was even deeper than the fires of hell. It couldn't even let you burn off your sins. You were just in a frozen tundra.
That's right.
Dante was nuts, man. You like Dante, speaking of pain and suffering. Which brings me to our last line here. A fish should not escape from the deep. Sharp weapons of the state must not be shown to man. What do you take from that? Fish in the deep, obviously, that's the place where it should be. A fish should be swimming. You can't take him out of there. He's going to die. So let's use that as a clue. Sharp weapons must not be shown to man. I think naturally that says that the natural state of man is non-aggressive. There's this natural state of man as fish in the water. The natural state of man is to not be shown weapons of the state. There's a lot of fun points here if you guys want. It's you can't even look at the weapons. Perhaps it'll stir something in the brain because you will be violent.
Yeah.
And why are they of the state? The rulers of you?
I've even heard, I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said like walk small but carry a big stick or something like that.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, Teddy Roosevelt. And yeah, if you see a weapon that's bigger than yours, like you're going to want to like match that or go beyond it. It's like, you're not going to kill me. I'm going to get a bigger weapon than that.
That's right.
That's really deep, man, because yeah, I agree. You should never show your weapons because it's only going to invoke violence.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to say that man is all peace and loving all the time. It's saying weapons of the state.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I like this.
Right?
Say the state.
It's saying sharp weapons of the state.
That's right.
Weapons of the earth. Between you and your fellow man, maybe there's a justification for a fight. But it seems the Tao is saying there's never a justification for a stately war that man has no intention to support.
I like that a lot because, you could fight for the sake of self. In fact, you should. But fighting for this idea of a state has been the downfall of men throughout history.
An emperor with his own intentions.
People are regretting World War II, and it hasn't even been 80 years or something like that. People are like, well, we shouldn't have done that.
And maybe it says, the secrets of the state, maybe like how it works, the weapons of the state, their mechanisms to keep you there and them above.
Oh, that's cool.
If you knew those weapons of control, you would be tainted. You would want that.
Man.
You would want that power if you knew how it worked.
That's interesting. Fish should not escape from the deep. Weapons should not be shown to man.
Adam and Eve yet again. The tree, the tantalizing tree of knowledge.
Yes.
It's Adam and Eve.
It's like don't want for what you shouldn't understand.
It's none of your business.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Guys, I think we learned from this episode, mind your business and return to Ancient Wisdom.